It's a good question. Okay, margins, super important. So first of all, we'll talk about why margins are super important, and not from a basic way of looking at this, because of course margins are important. But typically, I'm looking for 70% and above margins, right? Now, we can get into overall business margins, but for a second, let's just look at product margins. So first of all, you want to make sure that it's 70% and above, typically. So whatever you're buying it for, make sure there's that 70% markup. The reason for this is because of the most expensive thing in our game, which is ad spend, right? Now, the problem is that most people, they will start off with 70% margins. They use another 30% of that margin to acquire ad spend. Then there's Shopify costs, then there's fulfillment costs, whatever, right? And then they go, okay, cool. Here's the money and I'm profitable, way. And I come along and say, not for long. Now, the reason you're not going to be profitable for long is because typically, as you increase this ad spend, your return on ad spend is going to go down. Now, I've been doing this for a very long time. I would love to tell you some sort of technique or specific way that you can do things that means that your ROAS will never come down as you bring ad spend up, but it will. Yeah. So what you need more is business margin. So once you've got this first product running, the best thing that you can do to up your overall business margin is bring in other products and start upselling. So we spoke about before the nootropics, right? Yeah. So if you had 70% margins and then you had some ad spend that was taking off some more margin, and then you were profitable with that nootropic, the first thing that I would try and do is up AOV, right? So you need to up your average order value, but you're saying, Josh, I only have nootropics. Okay, cool. How are we gonna up AOV? We do this with an offer, right? Now, make sure you note this down. There's a couple offers that you can start with. You can do buy one, get one at 50% off, which you'll be able to do with something that's 70% and above margins. Then we can have another, and I'm running out of room on the whiteboard here, but you can have another, which is buy two, get one free, right? Now, typically, I would say go for this, but if there's a product that somebody will only buy a couple of, you just need to understand the product. I think nootropics, you probably want to start with like a buy one, get one at 50% off, but do split test this. So now by adding in an offer and not just saying, hey, just buy it once, and we're stuck with this scenario, right? Now you're upping AOV, now you got more margin, right? Yeah. But inevitably you're gonna scale, you're gonna scale, and this return on ad spend is gonna drop down. So what you need to do is then add more margin to the overall business again. So first of all, we've got our product, then we add an offer, that ups overall business margin. People are now adding more to cart. And now what you need to do is make sure that you are adding in other products. So what I would do is speak to your supplier and say, hey, we're selling these nootropics, we're doing 50, 100K a month, great. But we want to add more products around this. So I would add in 1, 2, 3 different products. So you got product 1 here, product 2, product 3, right? And this is where most businesses go wrong at scale. They do not scale the business, as in the fundamental business, as much as they scale the ads, right? And this is where they go wrong. And what I would try and do as a business owner for yourself is scale your production and the amount of products that you're adding to the business whilst you are scaling that ad spend. So You're going to add in other products, nootropics. I'm trying to think, something like ashwagandha, something like some vitamins, some gummies. Maybe you have nootropic powder that you're selling and now you're selling nootropic gummies as well. By simply adding these products to the website, you are upping AOV again. Now you can do post-purchase offers where somebody buys some gummies, then they get offered the powder at a discount. You can do all of that cool stuff and we can break down how to do that, that's fine. But what I would do initially and what I would want you to understand is that you need to make sure that the overall business margins are more of a priority than your initial margins, because your initial margins will only get you so far. Yeah. Now get this sorted, make sure you have a good offer in there, it will up your AOV, and then as you're spending more, by month 3, and you want to scale further, but you're thinking, hey, I was at a 4x return, now I'm at, I don't know, a 2.9, but we're at scale, right? And actually margins are getting the tiniest bit thin. Well, you probably wouldn't be at 2.9, but you're thinking if I scaled another 50%, my margins might come down too much, where then I'm only pulling, 8 to 12% net. So what you always want to be doing is making sure that as you're ramping ad spend over time, you're adding in other products. You can do post-purchase upsales, but typically the most important thing is that you actually have these products on the website, because you'll just notice that people are coming for this product, the one with 70% margins, right? Yeah. This is what we call your hero product. So this is why people are coming to the website. But once people are at the website, it is our job to make people spend as much as possible. So you need to prioritize, and I'm going to drill this into you and to everybody here, this is the most important thing that I see that stops brands scaling properly. So make sure that you are scaling the amount of products that you have on your store as you are going through and scaling ad spend, because before you know it, this return on ad spend is dropping. And I always recommend that whatever you're running at, you need to be able to drop by 20% in overall returns and still be in a good place. The reason for that is because of seasonality. The world could go crazy tomorrow, you never know. So if you want to play it super safe, for some brands that's not the case, and maybe they're in a spot where they have huge amounts of reserves, millions or whatever, that's not a huge concern. But typically, when you're building from the ground up, you want to make sure you got that initial good margin on the hero product, whack together an offer that has a great AOV, that gives it a great AOV. And then how do we up the AOV even more? We add product 1, we add product 2, add product 3. Please do not scale your business massively before you go ahead and scale the product, because before you know it, you'll just get slammed by that return on ad spend.